This is Taiwan Talk.
This is Taiwan Talk on ICRT.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talk. I'm Keith Menconi. China increased international tensions 2 weeks ago when it announced the establishment of an Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. The zone covers a large portion of the East China Sea that includes territory claimed by other nations, including Taiwan. Andrew Young is the Secretary General of the Chinese Council of Advanced Policy Studies and a former Minister of National Defense for the Ma administration. I invited him to provide his take on the international situation and Taiwan's response so far. To start our conversation, I asked him how these rules will affect Taiwan's commercial flights in the region.
There are very congested civil aviation transportation back and forth between Taiwan with Northeast Asian countries, such as Japan, Korea, and including China as well. So it is a very important area for international civil aviation activities. That requires very close cooperation in terms of aviation control among members in the region as well. So it is, again, when China announced the ADIZ, that certainly put more pressures for the regional countries to make sure that this would not have a great impact over the civil aviation routes and activities.
So this announcement could threaten Taiwan's claims to the Diaoyu Tai Islands. And on top of that, China did not consult with the Ma administration before they made this announcement. What kind of impacts do you think that this will have on cross-strait relations?
Well, certainly it will create a lot of psychological impact to the constituencies, including members of the parliament as well, because they consider this is a symbol of a further deprivation of Taiwanese sovereignty claims. And short of prior consultation, they consider it is a very negative gesture to compromise our interests.
Part of the Ma administration's response to this has been to renew his call for all sides to pursue peace using his East China Sea peace initiative. What he's hoping is that people will put aside their territorial disputes and try to have talks that coordinate economic development of the region and leave out the territorial dispute for now. In your view, what are the chances that Japan and China are going to pursue this kind of framework as they move forward?
My personal analysis is very remote.
It's a remote possibility.
Right, remote possibility, because either Japan or China will not abandon their position in terms of their claims.
But if the other sides are not willing to have any conversation that doesn't start with this territorial dispute, why is he still pushing this specific peace initiative? Why is this the framework that he's using? Is there any benefit that this could bring to Taiwan?
Well, two reasons. One, meaning Taiwan is a peacemaker, at least symbolically in international community. We are not using any hardline approach to this issue. We try to resolve the issue by peaceful means. So Taiwan is a peacemaker in the region. And at the same time, secondly, to urge those disputed members or claimants, including China and Japan, to approach each other, to engage each other, to find the ways or adopt the model of Ma's initiative to discuss where are the overlapping interests in terms of resolving this issue.
The Ma administration has faced criticism for its response to China's announcement. Many people have said that the response has been too soft, too weak. Do you think at this point that the administration has any chance of satisfying the Taiwanese people?
According to the responses from the constituencies and opposition parties, of course, they're not satisfied with soft-handed approach by the government. But at the same time, the government emphasizing that the announcement by Beijing even though we have overlapping areas, does not affect our defense conduct or self-defense measures in terms of protecting our interests. So we do not accept the Chinese announcement. We consider this is unfriendly. We send a grave concern and a message back to Beijing. But it does not affect our daily air defense or self-defense measures. My suggestion is that the government should bring up the issue to send a message back to Beijing and directly talk to the Chinese authorities, said that we are not happy about this. People are very negative towards Chinese actions, and Beijing should take some measures to deal with it.
Tomorrow, we continue our conversation about China's air defense identification zone on the East China Sea. Thanks for tuning in to Taiwan Talk. I'm Keith Menconi.
This is Taiwan Talk.
This is Taiwan Talk on ICRT.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talk. I'm Keith Menconi. President Ma Ying-jeou has received criticism for his statement that China's establishment of its air defense identification zone over the East China Sea does not involve issues of territorial sovereignty. Continuing our conversation from yesterday, I asked Andrew Yang of the Chinese Council of Advanced Policy Studies to help explain further the Ma administration's position.
I think President Ma has only addressed the issue in accordance with the international Code of Conduct. ADIZ is a unilateral decision to emphasize the security concern, the regions to monitor the activities is not directly related to the sovereignty issue. What he emphasized is try to calm the people or domestic constituency that this is not an immediate threat. We have conducted our routine missions on a daily basis. So make sure that the announcement will not compromise our interests. Our ADIZ actually cover the land area of mainland China. It's a much bigger area, covers over 300,000 square kilometers, 10 times larger than Taiwan itself. And so they're already within our ADIZ. This is what I said. The ADIZ doesn't mean sovereignty. It means early warning region for your self-defense.
By not denouncing China's actions more strongly, does Ma risk alienating allies such as Japan?
Not necessary, because they understand our position is quite special. On the one hand, we have to manage peaceful, stable relations with mainland China based upon the current cross-strait engagement mechanisms. On the other, we have to focusing on how to maintain regional stability and peace as well. So other actors doesn't have this kind of responsibility.
Legislators from both parties both called on the president to stiffen its response to China's actions, and part of what they were asking the Ma administration to do is coordinate its actions with Japan, America, and other friendly states in the region. Do you think that there's any possibility for some kind of coordinated action from these countries and Taiwan?
I would say that there are communication channels being established. There are movements through unofficial channels to address the issue. But I don't think that this kind of exchanges or communication will be announced officially or publicly, because, as I emphasized, we have a very unique and special situation at hand. Other governments would not recognize that we have official contact or formal communications to address the issue and identify ways to strengthen cooperation to deal with it. So I believe there are actions being adopted, there are exchanges being taken care of, and not formally announced or officially announced.
So right now the Ma administration wants to avoid any action that would alienate China.
Well, as I emphasized, we are actually fine-tuning our situation On the one hand, you have to deal with mainland China and certainly make sure that things will not derailed and will not damage the cross-strait interactions. On the other, you have to work closely with the international community to make sure that the Chinese announcement will not deeply affect the regional stability.
Taiwan's defense ministry has raised the possibility that China will announce another ADIZ in the South China Sea. How likely do you think that is, and if it does occur, what is at stake for Taiwan?
Then, of course, we will concern that whether our territory in the South China Sea, for example, Spratly Islands, the Taiping Islands, whether it will be affected by the Chinese announcements, and whether there will be other provocation by the regional responses and create tensions in the region. I don't think China is going to announce ADIZ in South China Sea immediately or in a foreseeable future for two reasons. One, the announcement of the East China Sea ADIZ already received very negative responses from the actors in the region and damaged Chinese international reputation as well. So I don't think China is going to conduct yet another decision to shoot its own feet and also create more negative response from the region. Secondly, South China Sea is much wider and larger than the East China Sea. I don't think China possesses the capability to monitor all the activities of South China Sea and actually can control or constrain behavior in entire South China Sea.
Thanks for tuning in to Taiwan Talk. I'm Keith Menconi.